Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me as Epic Fantasy, and this is my latest tutorial. This is a foam board sword project. I haven't done one in quite a while, so I thought, hey, let me look over my list, see what I got. And this one's been on my list forever. The Gunblade from Final Fantasy. I love this project. It's really, really fun. And I do it in a way that's really simple and easy for you. You don't need a whole lot of materials for this. Just one sheet of foam board, that's it. You can lay out all the pieces on that one sheet and make it from there. And that's a 20 by 30 inch, 5mm thick foam board. And that's it. And it's pretty strong. I give you, of course, the template. Makes it very easy for you to make. You print this up, cut out the pieces, and then use them to make your Gunblade. I like this part. It comes out fun.
Dioramas, origami, catapults, and trebuchets, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, model rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something.
Okay, so let's get started. Print up the template. The link is in the description of this video down below. The link to the web tutorial where you can get the template. It's totally free. In the description. It's got all the various parts on it. So you take those pieces and cut them out. And now let me show you how to assemble this together. There's a little bit of assembly required here. Take pieces 1, 2, 3, and 4 and tape them together like this. And I did this way so we could get maximum size, the biggest Gunblade we could possibly get with one sheet of foam board. So it's a little bit of assembly entailed in it, but I'll show you how to do all of that. It's pretty easy. You take 1, 2, 3, and 4 and you tape them together. And when you're doing it, make sure you got it all lined up nice and straight as you're doing it so it looks good when it's done. You don't want it crooked. And do the same thing with 6 and 7. Take 6 and 7 and tape those two pieces together. Then grab yourself a piece of foam board. Like I said, that's 20 by 30 inches and 5mm thick. Hey, and you can do this on cardboard if you don't have any foam board. Lay out your assembly there, the big one, that's the blade, and trace it. And for all these pieces, you're going to do 2 of each. You end up with 10 distinct pieces. And see that bevel there? That's like an inch from one end of the blade. Don't worry about that too much. But so we did 2 of the blade, and then you do 2 of part number 5, which is the handle assembly, and the trigger, and then 2 of the 6 and 7 assembly that you made. And don't forget to do that trigger area, and notice there's no actual trigger in this part. There is a trigger in another part. So you trace out all the pieces and you end up with this. They all fit on one sheet of foam board, and there's 10 of them. Just like that. You're on your way. So go ahead and cut all those pieces out. And let me give you a tip when it comes to cutting foam board. Make 3 passes. First pass cuts the top sheet of paper. Second pass, you press harder, you cut the foam. And then the third pass, you press hard and cuts the bottom layer of paper. Cutting foam board can be a little bit tricky, but that's a nice tip. Use the sharpest blade you have. If you have an X-Acto knife, change the blade for a nice fresh blade. But make 3 passes. That helps a lot with making clean, crisp cuts. So go ahead and cut all those pieces out, and there they are, all 10 of them. I think I've got a couple more videos coming out. I think I'm going to actually do another sword next. I haven't done many swords lately, and so we need to get our fix of sword making. So we got that, and I think I can squeeze in a little bit more blacksmithing. But let me show you how we're going to assemble this. Just like this, see? You put the 2 blades, the 2 handles, and then you put the receiver assembly on top, and then the handle assembly like that, and then the chamber like right there, and that's it. And then you would flip it over and do the 3 parts on the bottom underneath like that. So let's go ahead and actually glue them together. I'm using hot glue gun. If you don't have a hot glue gun, that's okay. You can use plain old white glue. But glue the 2 blade lengths together. Try to get them nice and straight. See, mine started out a little bit crooked. I had to straighten it there. The straighter you can get it, the better. Of course, it will look more metallic, more realistic. But you can, fudge that later with trimming and sandpaper. I'll show you. And then the two handle assembly pieces like this, glue those two pieces together. So what we end up here is a nice thick stack of two layers of foam board. And that makes for a reasonably strong sword that you can use. If it were a single stack, it'd be a little weak. You say, there you go. And then glue those two assemblies together. Just like this. Use plenty of hot glue. Just like this. And make sure you slide it around on the table like I'm doing there, because you don't want it to actually stick to the table. By moving it, it'll make sure it doesn't stick to the table. So use as much glue as you need. Keep it clean and flat. And then let's add on the overall handle receiver assembly. Like this. See, so this is a pretty easy build. And it's kind of neat. A very unique weapon. And comes out looking good. Then the handle assembly, the grip. The chambers, right about there. And then you would flip it over and do those on the other side too. See, now I flipped it over. And make sure you test it first before you apply glue, because there is a wrong and a right way. But that's the receiver, and then the grip, and then the chambers. And that's that. You've built it. Hey, what do we got? 6 minutes in, almost 7 minutes. And we've built the Gunblade. And it's pretty strong. So now, you see that? You get a stack of boards like that. A little bit messy. No problem. Clean it all up with a knife. Take your time. Don't cut yourself. Try to get those edges crisp and even. And sandpaper works really well for this. And rough grit, if you got like an 80 or 100 grit, use that to get it all nice and smooth as you desire it. And don't forget to do the blade, because that makes a big difference in how it looks. So that's that. So what's next? Now we got to paint it. Oh, one more thing. To get inside that trigger well, you could use emery paper. Or you could, fold up some sandpaper into strips like this and get in there like that. But let's paint it. So now let's start out with painting the whole thing, everything. A nice acrylic black. And this acts as a primer and as a base, and will make a difference in how it looks in the end. If you follow my channel, you know I do a lot of projects like this with the black paint. Now draw on some details, and the details aren't in the template. You're going to have to look at this video to see how I do my details, but there's just a few details. You draw them with a pencil, and then use some kind of a sharp object, well, not too sharp, a blunted object, like say a toothpick or a blunted pencil, to force an indent in the paper where those lines are, in the paper of the foam board. You want it to be an impression, a deep impression. So push down firmly, because it makes it look like separated pieces of steel. After we paint it, you'll see. So go over all those lines like that with a blunted pencil or a toothpick or something. So now we do something called dry brushing, where you put silver paint on your brush and then get rid of most of it by dabbing it on a paper towel, and then lightly brushing over just for now, just the gun section. We're just going to do this on the gun section, not the blade section. And mine started out a little rough there. It wasn't that good, but there you go. Now it's starting to see. Now you're starting to see what I'm getting at there. You're not just painting it, you're dry brushing it. And what happens is just the high points of the black paint kind of get silvered. It gives it a good metallic effect. So go ahead and do the whole gun section of it, but not the handle or the blade. And see, now it's starting to see. See that right there? That looks good. That's what we're looking for. And you continue to do this as much as you want until you get the silvered look that you want. I did more. I don't show you on video, but I kept at it, kept dry brushing, kept dry brushing, kept dry brushing until I got it and where I wanted it. And then I went over it with did some detail work with a small brush and silver paint. So see, it has more of a patina. It's not just painted silver. It definitely has like a look to it, and you can tinker with that and much as you want. And there you go, just about all done now. Some lines to give it a 3D look. And that's it. You know, I had fun, so much fun making this sword. It's been so long since I made a sword. I can't remember when's the last one I made. And people have been asking, make this sword, make that sword, make this one, make this one, make that one. And I went over my list and I said, gee, you know, let me do this. This one's been on my list forever. I said, you know, let me finally do this sword. And I'm glad I did it. Okay, so you paint the blade, just plain old silver. No worries about dry brushing, because it's different. It's the steel of the sword is different. And if you don't have silver, you can use a light gray. If you don't have a light gray, mix a little bit of black with white and it'll give you a light gray. So now how do we do the bevel in the blade? I was going to bevel it, but I said, no, let's paint it. It'll be easier and it'll be stronger. We'll paint in that bevel. So put the template back on your sword once the paint is dried, and then press on that line with a pencil, a blunted pencil. And see, it makes an indent in the foam board, so now you can see it. Add some white paint to your silver, your original silver, and then you can paint that bevel. And that's that. Take your time. If you have painter's tape, use that. That's much, much easier. I went through all my drawers looking for painter's tape. I says, I'm out of painter's tape. So I have to get painter's tape for the next project, hopefully. But my line came out reasonably straight. But if you use painter's tape, you'll get a nice, crisp, sharp line. You probably know I've used painter's tape many times before on my projects. But there you go. So that's that. And that's the bevel. Looks pretty good. And there's the gun blade. I like it. One more thing we're going to do here is we're going to use Mod Podge. It's a sealant, and it like preserves the colors. It gives it a little bit of a glossy look, a little bit, and a preservative, and it's kind of nice. And they make different types of Mod Podge. I mean, they make a matte and a gloss and a high gloss, and I think there's literally 300 different types of Mod Podge. But just plain old matte Mod Podge would be fine. You just paint the whole thing, and that's it. Your Gunblade is done. Remember, if you make this project, send me a picture. I will put it on my website, and I will send you a certificate of contribution. Hey, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Give me a thumbs up for the project. Give me project suggestions. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch.